American drones have fired multiple missiles into a region on Pakistan's border, killing at least 10 suspected militants. In the first strike, 2 vehicles carrying insurgents were hit, while in a separate attack, a home was destroyed. For more on that story, we're joined live by senior retired officer of the Pakistani Air Force, Sultan Hali. Thank you so much for joining us here on RT, Mr. Hali. Now, how accurate is the information that only militants die in such attacks, as the full details of the strikes haven't been revealed and no proofs ever been given?
Well, I'm afraid the information which is being given out is very sketchy, because especially since 2009, the United States seems to have changed the rules. It has declared that any able-bodied person who can be considered a militant will be considered a militant, irrespective of the fact whether the person is a terrorist or not. This, in fact, puts the onus of proving their innocence on the people who are being targeted. And this is not only unjust, but it is a mockery of all kinds of human rights, and especially coming from a country which calls itself the champion of human rights. It is not following the Geneva Conventions, it is not following the United Nations, it is not even following its own human rights charter, which has been highlighted in its own constitution. If you look at the inscription on the Statue of Liberty, which says, "Give me your huddled masses, your poor and your homeless," it appears that it is making a mockery of that too, because it is turning these people homeless, it is killing these people, maiming them, and calling them terrorists to boot.
Mr. Hali, UN human rights groups have repeatedly urged an investigation into such killings, saying more data and videos should be passed to independent assessors. Why doesn't the US allow an end to the so-called conspiracy of silence?
Well, you see, I'm so happy that Ben Emerson, the United Nations rapporteur on human rights, has made a statement and has called for the videos to be released. Only in the month of June, Neva Pillay, the Chief Commissioner for Human Rights, visited Pakistan and was aghast at the violation of the sovereignty of the country, as well as the human rights which are being trampled by killing innocent people. And the only reason why the United States is banking upon the use of drones is because it considers it a means by which its own troops, its own people are not put at risk. And sitting from, say, 10,000 kilometers away, it fires away missiles, Hellfire missiles on unknown people, which it later claims are terrorists, is, you see, cost effective for it because it is not exposing its own people to the danger. But the fact is that it is violating.
Let me just jump in there while you're talking about America and its drones. I mean, they're deeply unpopular in countries where they're used, which, you know, there's an argument now that while they're using these drones to try to wipe out the terrorists, they ineffectively create more of them, a double-edged sword in many ways.
Well, it's not just a double-edged sword. It is creating a greater hazard, because what is happening is that the terrorists who are targeted, whether they are killed or not, is anybody's guess, because there is no intelligent information available. But the fact is that the people who are killed, the relatives of the victims are approached by the terrorists, and they are told that since your relatives have been targeted and killed, it is high time that you can take revenge. And in fact, the number of terrorists who are being groomed and recruited in this way is rising. So it is not just a double-edged sword, it is counterproductive, and it is increasing terrorism rather than reducing it.
Still, the US claims that drone strikes do bring success, and they are still an effective tool to strike at targets where more conventional weapons can't. That's a fair argument, isn't it?
Well, it may be a fair argument for people who are sitting so many thousands of kilometers away. But you see, as I just explained to you, people like John Brennan, the National Security Advisor, has declared that since 2011, not a single collateral damage or innocent civilian has been killed, just because they have changed the very dimension of describing the definition of a militant. But you see, the fact is that, yes, there are other ways of dealing with them, because if you have proper human intelligence, if you have the use of resources, then maybe you can achieve the target easier. But in this case, to start with, it is illegal because Pakistan is not at war with USA. If the USA is using drones in Afghanistan or in Iraq, it is understandable because it is a theater of war. Pakistan is not at war. Therefore, it is a totally an illegal use of a weapon system in a country whose sovereignty is being trampled.
Well, let's leave it right there. Thank you so much, Mr. Hali, a senior retired officer of the Pakistani Air Force, giving us his views on those drone strikes out in Pakistan. Thank you for your time, sir.